Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Infertile Diagnosis. I'm your host, Monica Cox, along with Sarah Clark, and we're here to support, inspire, and educate those who are all consumed with the label of infertility. We totally know how you're feeling. Both Sarah and I were diagnosed with a form of infertility before we hit our 30s. We let the fertility experts dictate our past and ignored what our bodies were trying to tell us for far too long. So here we are, helping you take control of your infertile diagnosis. This episode of the Infertile Diagnosis is sponsored by the Baby and Me Journal. Now, if you follow me over on Instagram, you've seen this journal maybe once or twice, but do you know the story behind it? I started to create this journal for myself right before my third and last frozen embryo transfer. I have been doing some mental work and I use the 5-minute journal, and I really wanted a space where I can keep track of my meds, my supplements, my eating habits, my sleep, and also write once a day what was positive about that day. Now, I didn't realize how important this journal was going to be for me because my third embryo transfer ended up in an early miscarriage. And we were blindsided because we thought we had cracked the code. We had our IVF baby, we had our diet, we had our lifestyle, we had our mindset, and obviously we can't control everything in life. So we thought that was the end of our journey. But 2 months later, I found I was pregnant naturally for the first time in 8 years. Now, even though I was super joyful and incredibly happy that all my hard work of my diet and my lifestyle paid off, I was really pissed off. I was so mad that the knowledge that we can have a lot of control over our fertility health just wasn't out there. So the Baby and Me journal really helped me through these ups and downs that I was having. I truly saw the importance of trying your best and looking for the small positive things you had going on in your life. The Baby and Me journal can be used over 3 years. And I hear you saying it, girl, I hope my journey is not 3 years long, and me too. That's why I designed the journal to be used at any stage of your journey and when you get pregnant and when you have your baby. So you can continue this practice of very simple but yet effective mindfulness for 3 years. It's now truly amazing to look back at the end of my journey and see all the ups and downs and see all the small things that I was truly grateful for. You can check out the Baby and Me journal over on the website at mymindfulme.com. Welcome to our second Q&A. I get a lot of questions, I'm sure you do too, about all the different liquids that is out there for fertility, right? Whether you should or you shouldn't. So like water, coffee, green tea, bone broth, apple cider vinegar, and alcohol. Those are kind of like the top ones. And there is a lot of conflicting research or opinions on whether you should, you shouldn't, what you should do with that. So we kind of wanted to just come in here and give you the facts about them from a functional medicine standpoint. So let's start with filter water. This is my number one thing, the easiest thing you can do for your fertility health. You agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Gets the if you're not hydrated, the sperm will not get to the egg. So it is crucial for your cervical mucus to stay hydrated and have purified water.
yeah, and that's the thing is there's a lot of shit that comes within our water, especially from the taps. Well, I think these are common sense things, but we just have to say them because it might not be a common sense thing. But drinking a lot of water from a plastic bottle, the plastics leach into the water, and then you drink it. So it's definitely best to avoid drinking a load of water from a plastic bottle. But if you have one every once in a while, it's not going to be the be all and all of your health. Um, but yeah, getting a filter on your water at home, that and having that the main resource of your water is just so key, especially with all the fake estrogens that get pumped into the water, the chemicals to clean it, the fluoride, for a lot of people get pumped in. What's your take on all those chemicals in the tap water?
Yeah, absolutely. Fluoride is not good for your people that have hypothyroidism or any kind of thyroid issues. Yeah, and then so I use the Berkey, Berkay. I love that one. Just gets rid of all those different, like, there's birth control residue. There's yeah, arsenic and chlorine and yeah, fluoride. Also too, for your shower too, because a lot of times we're like, oh, we get the filter in our water, but in your shower, because you can be absorbing you can be inhaling the vapors from the shower, to just get like a $20 filter on the shower head, and Berkey has one that I like. But yeah, the water filter is huge. For years I drank right out of the tap and thought I was fine, but the water, when you have filtered water that's actually great, the water out of the Berkey just tastes like heaven. It just
Yeah.
tastes so, it gets so hydrating. Whereas now if you do have a tap water, if you have the bottled water, you can just, it's like this dryness that leaves in your throat. I guess the alkalinity or something is off, but yeah, to me, at a minimum, like, we don't totally like it, but the Brita, you could use that, but it's not going to filter everything out. But as a cheap first step, that would be somewhere to go.
Yeah, I mean that's what we started with, was the Brita, and then we got the same one as you. And you just have to get in the habit, right? Like, it's a habit building process with making sure you're bringing your water in a clean canteen or whatever kind of water bottle you want to use. And like you say, once you start filtering that water, it's really hard to go back to any other kind of water, because it does not taste the same. And not everyone necessarily has horrible water. I would say if you're living in London, like, definitely filter the shit out of your water. But if you're up in the high Sierras, check what you can go online. All the water plants tell you what they put in your water. So I know in Hawaii, I didn't realize, I bought a fluoride filter before I realized they don't fluorate their water in Hawaii, which much dismay to both my dentist and my doctor. They keep asking me if I would like tablets to give to my children.
No.
And I'm just sitting there going like, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to give? And the thing is, like, since we're on fluoride, there's fluoride in toothpaste, and I feel like you can make a decision on this, whether you do or don't, because hopefully your toothpaste, you're not swallowing huge quantities of it. I know it can leach into your gums and stuff, but some people do need it. Like, my husband needs fluoride in his toothpaste. He has overactive glands, and so at night he um, the saliva is crazy, and he actually gets plaque really quickly. And I've noticed that my eldest does as well. So I'm not going to give him fluoride orally, but I will let him use fluoride on his teeth. So I think that's a decision you need to make, because I do feel like I don't use fluoride. I don't need it on my teeth. My teeth are fine. And if I can avoid it at all costs, I do. But if you feel like you need it in your toothpaste, then I personally think that it's all right, but not in your water. And as much water as you need to be drinking to stay hydrated, you don't want to be consuming that much, right?
Yeah, like, it's like average of 8 glasses, but you take your weight, divide it in half, and then what is it? Take your weight, divide it in half, and then whatever that comes out to ounces. Not, and you divide it by. I don't remember the calculation now,
See,
but
this is why people get so fucked up about like all these do's and don'ts. Like,
I know
I
it's
just
like,
say, like, get 20 ounces of like a bottle, and just, if you can finish
right?
that in a day, and if you have a little bit extra, if you need it, if you're exercising or you're not, but yeah, there is a specific
Depending,
calculation.
depending on your weight, yeah, obviously you'll, depending on your weight, you'll need more or less. But
Yeah.
to me, it's like first drinking it, because I for years was, I drink probably one thing of water a day and pee once a day and thought that was good. My urine was like the color of, you know, it was brown. Now it's, the more you drink, it is a pain in the butt. You will urinate more, but that's a good thing. You're flushing
Right.
out the toxins. So, and the more water you drink, the more you'll crave it.
Yes. Yeah,
And
exactly.
house without my water bottle. But if you have more, if you're doing more of those crackers and more of breads and things like that, then you need more water. But if you're having a lot of salads and fruits and things that have, food that has more water in it, you don't need as much. If you're drinking having a lot of organic watermelon, maybe you get a lot of water in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard because I think sometimes this is all just common sense, right? I don't know. So stating the obvious maybe still needs to be stated, like, yeah, drink water and filter your water. There's shit in it. There's a lot of shit in it.
Mhm.
Um, so coffee, and I'm going to add green tea to this as well, because I once had a comment from someone saying, I'm not supposed to have any caffeine while, during my infertility journey. So I'm not having green tea. And we're just sitting there go, that's what I drink. I had a cup of green tea every single day because the benefits of green tea um, outweighed the small amount of caffeine that I was getting. But so I'm lumping these in together. But let's go for coffee, because I think coffee is um, a really big thing for people with infertility, right? Like it seems like they're almost the number one thing they don't want to give up.
Yeah, there's a whole, alertness and feeling good with having your morning cup of coffee. And so, yeah, that can be helpful. But then I see people having, multiple cups of coffee a day, and then they're like, why can't I sleep? So to
Mm-hmm.
me, like in a perfect world, we'd say not to have any caffeine. That's what we say, and go on like and basically you can do a withdrawal method. If you're having 2 or 3 cups of coffee right now, do not go cold turkey. You want to do like um, full caffeine with half calf, and then um, decaf, and then sorry, a full calf and decaf together, and then decaf, then down to green tea, then down to herbal tea. So have that over the course of 10 days and drink water in between. Um, but yeah, because it's like there's studies that say 1 cup of coffee a day is okay if you're doing IVF, like the studies are with IVF. But I also need to really see how caffeine impacts you. So I will have maybe a cup of coffee a week. But if you have a genetic SNP that maybe you aren't, processing caffeine. If I drink a regular caffeinated coffee, I feel so freaking hyper. I go into like over planning mode that I'm gonna plan and like take on the world. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I just feel like jittery, and I can. This is gross, but I can smell it in my urine when it comes out. I get just like, oh my god, I've been like overly caffeinated. So there are people that aren't able to, to really see how it impacts your body. And if you've been having for years and years, 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, you won't know until you take it out and then maybe bring it back in how you feel. So again, very individual. Would recommend to not take it out, especially if you've got sleep issues. You don't have caffeine after 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you like it plays around with your ability to get to sleep. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
your tip.
I think it comes down. Well, I think there's two things. One, I think the quality of coffee that you're having
Yes.
matters like beyond anything, right? If you are drinking shitty coffee that is full of molds and toxins, because that is a very real thing amongst the coffee, and you can tell. So if you are having Dunkin' Donut or McDonald's coffee, I don't know, I'm maybe even going out on a limb and saying Starbucks, you're probably having a really low grade coffee. So going organic, or I know Bulletproof isn't necessarily organic, but he does, great things, and is a huge thing about the molds on his coffee. Try those out and see how different you feel compared to, a regular kind of normal cheapy coffee. Um, and then I would say is how you metabolize it. So there's fast and slow metabolizing, right? So if you're a slow metabolizer, which we probably both are, a cup of coffee, it takes us slower to metabolize it. So that's why like our heart's jumping out of our chest. We're like ready to plan like the next 8 years of our lives. And what is that doing to your adrenals? You know, you are, and we haven't really talked about that loads, and we will do an adrenal podcast, but I would say for a lot of us going through infertility, especially because I feel like there's a lot of type A people in this community, you're whacking the shit out of your adrenals already. So doing more caffeine, especially if you're doing more than just a cup a day, you're just whacking your adrenals. Just like a hard exercise, they say don't do that. It's really because you are fatiguing your adrenals.
And the exercise piece, how do you feel the next day? If you're dragging, then yeah, that's too, you don't need to be pushing yourself. It's too much for you, and it's impacting your cortisol levels, your sex hormones, and you
Yeah.
know, it's like to dig deeper into that piece. And there's there's a whole cultural and even a habitual thing linked with coffee. So to
Yes.
don't go cold turkey, do the withdrawal method, but you know what I mean. Do the withdrawal protocol, and yeah, and see how it feels without it for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I never had a coffee issue during my infertility. It just wasn't my thing because it never made me feel good. And I started drinking coffee after my son was 9 months because I was exhausted. And anyway, so coffee came into my life. And just recently, if you follow me on Instagram, I went decaf for a bit, and I was only having 1 cup a day in the morning. Um, and I just started feeling like shit on it.
Hmm.
And coffee isn't recommended on the AIP. It's not like a no-go, but it's, you know, it's one of those that some people can deal with it, some people can't. And I've cut it out along with a few other things. And yeah, so it's one of those things is that you have to watch what your body's doing with it. Um, yeah, I don't feel, like I said, I drank a cup of green tea um, once I started getting into my diet and mindset lifestyle, because there are really good benefits, even in coffee, you know, the antioxidants, the polyphenols, you know, there are good things amongst coffee and green tea and your herbal teas. And like you say, it's very individualized. I really feel that like, as long as you're not overdoing it, your body can handle it, and um, it seems to be working for you, you know, having a small cup of coffee or a small green tea, then I would say enjoy it. But yeah, I think it's this, um, I think, yeah, people just are drinking probably more shitty coffee than they realize that they're drinking. And I personally feel that's the major issue. And then the caffeine on the side of it. But so I don't know. There we go. We don't really have a good answer for you about coffee or green tea. Once
No, I think it's individualized, and go to your health food store and you can get a nice decaf,
Yep.
fair trade organic one. It just tastes great. Get a little French press. They're like $15 and have that at home. We do that. Make a little iced coffee with coconut milk and, yeah, you don't need all that syrup and all that sweetness and stuff in there,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
If your
It's
coffee is like a milkshake, then that's a whole other problem.
it's once again just going back to clean eating, right? Like I think we demonize a lot of healthy foods for us. One, because we've made them shit, and two, we're overusing them. You know,
Mm.
they're so red. You know, you can go to a Starbucks. I mean, Jesus Christ, I have like 3 around me, and I live in a small town. Um, so yeah. So tackle alcohol, and then we'll go on to the two like healthier versions of our liquids. Once again, conflicting evidence, research,
Mhm.
opinions about whether or not, and I guess really red wine is the healthy alcohol for you. Everything else, I would say, people would agree is unhealthy. Um, and I would say alcohol was my number one hardest thing, still is, especially red wine, to give up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, for me, yeah, like I didn't really, well, I didn't know any of this stuff. So during infertility, I didn't give anything up. Not that I was never like a hardcore drinker or anything. Oh, university was a little out of hand, but after that, I was fine. But I just see people. I think with the alcohol, if it is hard for you to give up, then maybe that's again to dig into, well, why.
Yep.
Um, Reading a book, Sober Curious, and I'm having someone on my podcast talk about this very issue, because why do we feel when we're going out that we need to drink? Like, what is this societal thing that we have that in order to go out and have fun? Otherwise, if you're not drinking, then you're just like this real boring person. Why can we not go out and dance and not drink? Why do we have to? What's the societal thing going on? So if you're feeling all this pressure, and also maybe for infertility, you've decided not to drink, and it's like even that is like too restrictive. And maybe you go to a wedding and maybe you decide to have a glass of white wine, like a glass of wine, or you want to have a spritzer or something like that. Just make sure, to me, if you're going to have wine, you can get organic wine. There's lots of organic wines now,
Mm-hmm.
which are quite delicious. And yeah, aim for an organic wine or organic cider, because we're looking at gluten-free things. So I do like a gin or a cider or a wine. But if you have a yeast issue, if you've got a fungal thing going on and you're doing wine, like alcohol is like with the yeast, so it's just feeding that, and that may not make you feel good. So again, very individual, and digging in a little more about the societal piece, and then also the health piece about what it's doing to your body.
Yeah. For me, I got a lot of stuff off of the paleo mom. She's kind of known as the mother of autoimmune paleo protocol. She's a scientist, a doctor. She gets into the nitty gritty of things. So, um, but she has a blog post, and I'll link it in the show notes. And this was what finally made me be really rigid on even just having a glass, because obviously I cut down. I wasn't the party girl that I was used to be before, but I would still have a glass every now and again, or once a week, or maybe, more during like the holidays. And so I'm going to read this clip. And she said, even a very small amount of alcohol can damage the lining of the gut. Specifically, alcohol leads to mucosa damage in the upper small intestine. So that, to me, because I knew I had an underlying gut health issue, was finally my wake-up call that even just a small amount was doing damage. So as much as I was eating healthy, drinking bone broth, sleeping, all the mindfulness, because I still wasn't getting pregnant, I felt like you're still doing that damage. You're working so hard at healing, and yet you're still sending like this little atom bomb into your stomach, which is the root cause of your infertility. Stop, like fucking just stop, right?
Yeah, Dr. Sarah Ballantyne. Yeah, I had her on the podcast. She's like super smart, and it's like to really, yeah, like if you're hearing this and you're like, no way in hell am I giving up your alcohol? It's just like when we say, if you, but with the diet piece, no way in hell can I ever give up cheese. Whatever you're having the issue giving up, that's probably the thing you should give up.
Yeah.
And it can be like scary to hear that, and you're like, oh, screw that, I don't want to. But if $60,000 in potential IVF, taking a functional approach, and really looking at gut health and looking at things differently, that could be the difference, right? So, and if say
Yeah.
that's going to be the actual difference, but it does matter, and I think it's very individual, and I would explore taking it out for a period of time. Definitely
100%.
the elimination diet, that period, there's no alcohol. So
Yeah. And I had to like keep mentally telling myself that for me, a baby was more important than a night out. Or
right.
For me, a baby was more important than that glass of wine. And it is literally still to this day, out of sight, out of mind. I do not keep it in the house unless I'm wanting to drink. because I know I just have this tendency. It's how I grew up. It's how I saw my parents grew up. It is just, I'm sure I'm like borderline, there's that, they say it's, yeah, addictive behavior. My husband loves a drink. I mean, we're responsible with it. Don't get us wrong, but that is just my vice. And I would say, um, especially anyone with having an autoimmune issue, you just have to go hardcore for that time. If you want to bring it back in after you like have accomplished your goal, um, then do. I did. That's fine. But if you want to reach your goal quicker, you just have to stop, throwing those bombs down in where the root cause of your fertility is.
Yeah, and suck it up, and it'll probably be hard, and you can go gradually if you are drinking,
Yeah.
more.
Exactly. So let's go on to two things that I both feel that we are passionate about to improve health, overall health. I have heard some people be really blasé about our first apple cider vinegar of, there's some myths out there that it's this like, it will fix your hormones and it's the cure to infertility. But we both know that that's not true. That's not what apple cider vinegar is used for. What do you, when you recommend it, what do you tell your clients about it?
Yeah, it's more for, like, I guess if you have low stomach acid, it helps to with digestion. So I've been taking it for, like, in the morning. I take like a teaspoon with a little bit of water, and before each meal, along with digestive bitters to help with the gut health. And so and it's been helping. And then it helps with the stool and all of that, and being able to assimilate and digest. So just a little bit for before each meal has been helpful for me. So, and make sure I use Bragg's. That's the so you don't want to be doing, like, it's got to be organic,
Right.
uh, natural. Yeah, it's not just like,
Cloudier, the better.
yeah, with the mother in it. It's got to be, yeah, you don't want the one off the shelf that's just the vinegar thing. But yeah, that's how. But there's, like, I don't have it in front of me, but there's like list and list of things that it can be helpful for. But I think if you're just doing apple cider vinegar, again, like these things out there where you can do this and do that, it's not about that one thing.
No. And it's not a quick fix to fertility. And I think that's how getting demonized, because people think, oh, just take apple cider vinegar, just like royal jelly, or,
No.
that's not what it's there for. It is and can be a great healing tool and help with digestion. And once again, we're going back to the gut, and that's where we're focusing on healing. But yeah, it really pisses me off when it gets presented that way, because it can be super helpful into your whole holistic thing. It's not like, once again, you're not taking apple cider vinegar and rubbing it on your lady bits,
No. Yeah. Rubbing, I don't know what yeah, it, yeah, there is, like there's tons of blogs about apple cider vinegar and it's a cure all. But again, I go back to my analogy. If you're having apple cider vinegar every day and you're still eating your McDonald's, your cheeseburger, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
it helps with digestion. And I don't know what else does it help with, or
Oh, there's like a whole list of like skincare, thyroid. But I think once it just comes back to maintaining a healthy gut, right? Everything's linked. So anything that else that it improves, it's for the fact that it's helping improve your gut, it's helping healing, it's helping your digestion, which
yeah.
we know is super important. And last but not least, bone broth.
Oh yeah.
And this is like kind of liquid gold out there now, right? This is like, drink bone broth and all your ailments will go away. But once again, it's just like the apple cider vinegar. It is a healing mechanism for your gut. And when you use it alongside the right diet, the right sleep, the right rest, the right exercise, it's just an aid to help you um, heal quicker.
And some people can have adverse reactions from it. So if there's, like, I think it's like histamine, or if there's like
Yes.
fungal issues going on, right? That's why if you don't want to do the fermented foods, if you get flushed, especially, yeah, with wine and things like that, that would get histamine. I used to get, like, with the red wine, it made me so, my nose would go like bright, really red. And so yeah, like the hell are we talking about?
Bone broth. Histamines.
Wow, I have some
Just
brain
like,
fog going on. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh,
Make your own or buy it. I've made my. You've probably made your own because you're like making that. But like I've made a few things of it, but I would buy it more. But I don't know. I just I think it's nice to have, but if you're just doing the bone broth and not looking at all the other things, I don't think you're
yeah.
getting to the root cause.
Yeah, exactly. I know for me, it was, I had it loads. I was good on it. Like you say, you have to be careful. There are some histamines that you can get, and not all people are great on it. And I think that's important to know because once again, I think people look out in the fertility world and go, oh, another quick fix. I'll just have bone broth, where it doesn't work like that. But yeah, for me, I took it loads all the time. I drank it raw. I made my own because when I kind of got into it, people weren't making it. You couldn't buy it on the shelves. Now you can choose from like 10 different versions. And once again, make sure you're getting the good stuff. And unfortunately, the good stuff is very expensive. But it will help just along apple cider vinegar to improve your gut health. And that's where we're, trying to get people to focus. Stop looking at your fucking ovaries. They're there, they work.
Yeah.
It's your gut that's not working properly. So anyways, I hope that today's Q&A has given you a little insight about how, what, and why about some of the more popular liquids in the infertility community, and when not to use them. Thank you again, Sarah, for joining us, and we will see you next week for, I don't know, I haven't planned next week yet, so we'll figure it out. Right. Enjoy your day, and I hope everyone out there listening has a beautiful day as well. A few more things before you go. If you like what we're doing, please leave a review and/or a rating. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would totally help us out. Also, if you like to connect with either of us, you can find me, Monica, over at mymindfulme.com, and you can connect with Sarah over on fabfertile.com. All the links you need to find us on our websites, our social media, any products we talk about, books, special offers, or any guests that we have on, you're going to find all that information in the show notes. So that's it. Thank you once again for being with us here on the Infertile Diagnosis, and have a beautiful day.